Live from the Hoboken Studios in New Jersey, I'm Tom Anderson, and this is Terrific Talk.
Terrific Talk Podcast. Welcome back, Terrific Talk Podcast.
Here comes the host.
I'm your host, Tom Anderson.
First, behind the back, it gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. Back.
Welcome to Terrific Talk. Today's episode is brought to you by MyBookie. Where you bet is just as important as who you're betting on. And if you want to make money betting the games, you got to go to mybookie.ag. They have odds on every matchup and a mobile site that makes wagering on your smartphone a breeze. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Just use the promo code TERRIFIC to activate the offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. Got a great podcast here for you today. I wanted to start out, we got the Thanksgiving games in the NFL. I want to give you my picks and predictions, and one pick this Sunday that I think is going to be big time, and I want to give you some fantasy football advice. Going to do all that before I bring in my guest, Curt Menefee, the NFL on Fox. You know him. He's with Terry, Jay Glazer, Michael Strahan, Jimmy Johnson. He's the host of that show, and he's a great guest, and it was fun learning all about his career. Taped this pod a while back, but I wanted to bring it to my new audience here on the CLNS Media Network. So before I get to Curt, real quick, let's go over the Thanksgiving games. First game, we got 12:30 kickoff tomorrow on Thanksgiving. The Minnesota Vikings, the red-hot Minnesota Vikings, are on the road in Detroit. Detroit, we all know they've dominated the game. I think they've won 5 straight. Matt Stafford has looked great every Thanksgiving. I think this is the week that changes. Minnesota comes in here on fire. They haven't beaten the Detroit Lions since 2015. I think this is finally the year they get it done. They lost earlier this season to Detroit, but that's when Sam Bradford went down and they lost Dalvin Cook. They were kind of a mess at that point. The defense was still strong, but the offense was a mess. I think they're clicking a little bit now. The wide receivers are great with Diggs and Thielen. They're getting open. I think they'll get open in this game. I like Minnesota. Next up, we got the LA Chargers at the Dallas Cowboys. This line has moved to -2 in favor of the Chargers. So another road team, the favorite. Dallas, as we all know, no Zeke Elliott. They've looked terrible since that happened. They obviously lost a huge guy, Tyron Smith, on the offensive line. Looks like he'll play tomorrow. I think Dallas is going to bounce back here. It's Thanksgiving Day. They're at home. They need this game. And the Chargers, let's not get carried away with what happened last week against the Buffalo Bills. Obviously, they blew them out. But Peterman threw 5 picks in, the first half against them? I don't see Dak Prescott doing that. I think Dallas bounces back. I'm taking the Cowboys in the second game here. Next up, we got the New York Giants. My Giants, the red-hot Giants, I might add, on the road here at the Washington Redskins. Redskins are favored by 7. They're favored by a touchdown, and I don't think that's enough. I think Washington's going to blow them out of the park. Washington, we've all been sleeping on them this season because they've been losing a ton of close games. Their record's not great, but that offense has been putting up points consistently all season. I think the Washington Redskins get it done here against the Giants. I think last week was a fluke. The offense is terrible. They're not going to be able to keep up with the Redskins. I like Washington a lot in that game. Then we got our picks. I'm going to give you one here. The Carolina Panthers, they're on the road. They're playing the Jets. The Panthers in this one are favored by 4.5. I think Carolina is a team everyone needs to look out for. Cam looks like he's got his swagger back. He's dancing. He's doing Cam Newton things on the field. For whatever reason, they're starting to click. Greg Olsen now reinserted back into that offense. That can only help. I think the Jets, they've honestly surprised everyone this season. They've had a good year. But I think Carolina is the hotter team coming into this one. They're the better team. I like Carolina, 4.5 points. I think they're going to win by at least a touchdown in that game. Fantasy football advice, all right? One quarterback, I got to tell you, I mentioned it earlier in the picks, Kirk Cousins. Going up against the Giants. He's at home on the primetime Thanksgiving game. Kirk Cousins has been killing it lately, and I don't see how this Giants defense is going to be able to slow him down. Washington's going to put up a ton of points in this game. I like Kirk Cousins a lot. Running back, who I think bounces back this week, Todd Gurley of the LA Rams. Obviously ran into a tough team in the Minnesota Vikings on the road. Great defense. They're going up against New Orleans. You saw what the Redskins did to them last week. I think New Orleans' defense is a little overrated. I think the Rams will be able to put up points in this. I think Todd Gurley bounces back running and receiving. I think he gets 100 total yards at least and a touchdown in this game. Love Todd Gurley. Now let me give you one defense who has quietly been playing pretty well lately. The Baltimore Ravens. They're at home this week, Monday night game, taking on the Houston Texans. And ever since Deshaun Watson went down, the Texans' offense and Tom Savage have not been getting it done. I like the Baltimore Ravens defense a lot in this game. I would play them. Do that, DraftKings. Use the promo code CLNS. Get great deals, huge cash prizes. DraftKings.com. All right, let's get to the NFL on Fox's Curt Menefee. We'll get into his career here, talk some football. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great Thanksgiving. Here we go.
He is the studio host of Fox NFL Sunday, alongside Terry Bradshaw, Howie Long, Jimmy Johnson, and Michael Strahan. He's host of the UFC on Fox. He's host of a brand new hit show on the Travel Channel called Hello Goodbye. He's had an amazing career. It's great to have him on today. Let me bring him in here. Curt Menefee, welcome to Terrific Talk.
Well, good to talk to you, Tom. This is an honor for me to be a part of this. Thanks a lot.
Oh, it's really nice of you. So I've read that you visited something like 80 countries in your life. I think that's crazy. Where did this love of travel for you come from?
You know, it's interesting because, yeah, you're right. The list is over 80 countries, all 7 continents. And it really kind of started in my adult life. The first international trip, I mean, not counting one of those trips when you're in college, you go to visit someone in California, you cross the border, go to Tijuana. So the first real trip I took was in 1994 when I was working as a local guy with in Dallas, and went with the Cowboys. They played an exhibition game against the Detroit Lions at Wembley Stadium. It was the first of the American Bowls in the preseason, and that was the first time I'd been overseas, as they called it, and really enjoyed it. And then it really got spurred by my time in NFL Europe. I called games. Fox had the broadcasting rights for NFL Europe, and they did it on the Fox cable stations, and then the championship game, the World Bowl, was always on the network. So I went over for 10 years. That's really how I got started as a play-by-play guy, and called games over there, mostly with Brian Baldinger. And based in London. Well, we were based in London 5 years, Frankfurt 1, and then Amsterdam the other 4. But obviously, you're in especially when you're in Amsterdam, you're in Central Europe. You hop a flight, you're somewhere else in an hour or 2 hours or whatever. So on my off days, I would just travel to different countries and see different parts of the world. And then that got expanded to, well, more than just the off days. It became extending my time there when I was there after the season was over into taking vacation time and spending time there. And then just, I love traveling. I just love meeting people. I love getting to see as much as I can of the world. But, that's just kind of something I've been fortunate and blessed enough to do throughout my lifetime.
Last traveling question. What was Antarctica like?
Cold. So the one thing is I was there at the end of February in 2004, I believe it was. Maybe in 2003. But so that's the end of their summer. And it was interesting because everyone was hurrying up and trying to get any outdoor projects they had to do, the windows boarded up and the roofs taken care of and all that. Because once the winter starts, there's obviously no fixing up anything. And that was one of the few, one of the good things that I don't mind traveling on my own and trying to figure out where I'm going to go. And, I've kind of got my wife to come around to it to a certain degree.
Nice.
It's okay to land in a country and then figure out what you're going to do while you're there. Just have an arrival date and departure date. Not all of our trips are like that, but some are. So that's how I like to travel. But I was down in the year before that I went to Antarctica. I was down in southern Chile, and it's one of those things that suddenly clicks in your head how close you are to Antarctica. You're like, well, maybe I should just hop over there. Well, there's no Southwest Airlines or a little commuter that hops over there. There's no commercial flights. So I just happened to be in a bar and talking to a guy in my travel status, as I like to call it, and he understood enough English that we were able to communicate, and I was talking to him about it. And he said, well, there's no hotels, there's nothing. You have to be invited by the Chilean government. From his standpoint, there are 19 governments that have a base there, and half of them are on this one island, King George. And it just so happened that his cousin was a researcher for the Chilean government, had been there for more than 20 years, and was based in Antarctica. Gave me his email address, exchanged emails with the guy. We weren't able to get it done that year because you have to be invited. You can only stay for 3 nights. It's only certain days of the year. One of those kind of things because you have to go through the government paperwork.
Yeah.
But we wound up spending time that off season or that next season, football season for me, soon as the off season came. It took about 6 months to plan, but I was able to get there and stay on the base for the Chilean Air Force for 3 nights, and got to go see whales and penguins and hiking and glaciers, and I mean, it was absolutely one of the best things I've ever done.
Really, really cool. So you mentioned earlier that you grew up in Atlanta, Dominique Wilkins fan. Then you grew up playing football and baseball in Atlanta, and you wanted to cover sports for a living. And then you decided to go out to Coe College out in Iowa, a school with no journalism or communications program. Why did you choose Coe?
Again, I don't know. So it's one of those things, you make a decision sometimes when you're 17 years old that you look back and you go, there's no logical sense to it, but it was obviously worked out well.
Yeah.
So I think it was kind of meant to be. When I was in high school, it was as simple as we could get out of our AP English class while listening to college recruiters come and talk. And so I would use it, as many students did, to get out of class that day. The recruiter from Coe College came, first time and only time that they recruited in the South in Atlanta. So it was really interesting, just the timing of it.
Yeah.
The guy did a horrible job. And after like 10 minutes, he was done. He's like, any questions? Nobody had any questions. So I felt sorry for the guy, struck up a relationship with him, and then, through the recruiting process, started hearing from students, et cetera, et cetera. And I knew I wanted to be involved in television in some way. I thought I wanted to be a producer. I really did. When I was coming out of high school, I thought it would be cool to be a sports producer in some fashion. But I knew that Coe had no journalism program. They had no speech program. At that time, they didn't even have a college radio station. They had one, then it disappeared. Now it's back, but still, there was nothing. I mean, it made no sense for me to go there. But when I mentioned it to the recruiter, he said, well, Fred Hickman went here. And Fred Hickman was anchoring CNN Sports at the time. And they had back then, CNN did sports.
Yeah.
They competed against Sports Center at 11 o'clock at night. Fred Hickman and Nick Charles, the Nick and Hick show, was probably bigger than Sports Center at that time.
Right.
This is 1984. And I'm, a freshman, at that time, actually 83, I'm still in high school. So I got in touch and called Fred Hickman just to find out about Coe College. He answered my phone call and told me all about the school. I wound up going there. He helped me get an internship at CNN the summer after my freshman year, and the rest is history.
Well, you made the right choice.
It kind of worked out for me.
Yeah. You mentioned you wanted to be a producer, and it changed for you. What do you like about being in front of the camera?
It's interesting because even when I went to Coe and when I was interning at CNN, and then I went back the following fall, so the beginning of my sophomore year, I still thought I wanted to be a producer, and I just kind of hooked up, I hooked up with a local station there. I made phone calls and asked every sports director at the local station, because local news was really kind of the entry point back at that time in the mid-'80s. And one guy just happened to write my name and number down, and 4 months later called and said, hey, I'm going to the University of Iowa spring game. You want to carry some gear? You don't get to be on TV. You don't get to be famous. And I'm like, that's fine. I want to be a producer anyway.
Yeah.
And so I did that. The next week we did the Iowa State spring game. And then he just kind of took me on his wing. John Campbell recently retired. He's been there all those years. I said, what do you want to do? And I said, well, I want to be a producer. And so we did that for a while. And he taught me how to shoot a camera. I had learned how to edit by being at CNN. He taught me a lot about writing. And then after we were doing that for a while, he says, well, have you ever thought about being on camera? And I said, no. He says, well, you've got a great voice.
Yeah.
Why don't you take the VOs that we do at night, the highlights, and put your voice down and just play with it and kind of learn and figure out your own style and your own way. And I did that for a while. He took it to the news director, unbeknownst to me, and said, hey, I think this kid has something. Why don't we have him report on high school sports and college sports in Iowa? And I started doing that, and that was the second semester of my sophomore year. By that summer, I was anchoring in Cedar Rapids, and it's just one of those things. You kind of get the bug. I think maybe it's kind of like travel or whatever for me. I think once I get involved in something that I like, then you want to see how far you can take it.
Yeah.
And so it goes from being just 1 or 2 countries that you're visiting to 80 countries. It goes from just taking and putting your voice down when you're 19 years old on tape to kind of seeing how far I can go in this business. And so it's just kind of part of my personality. But had it not been for him saying that, I probably would have wound up being a producer.
Amazing. A ton of NFL pregame shows out there. I think yours is the best, most watched every year. What do you think makes your show so successful?
I think I always tell people that the key to our success, first of all, is having people watch us.
That helps.
I think that people watch us because they like us, and I think they like us because we like one another.
Yep.
I hear a lot of shows, and it's not to disparage anybody else, but of situations and places where guys show up on Sunday or game day, whatever their situation is, and then they all try to pretend to be friends or they act like they're friends, and the rest of the time they don't talk to one another. Well, we are all genuinely friends. As a matter of fact, all five of us, including Jay, all six of us, on a pregame show getting together for a weekend in Vegas this weekend, because we always do just an off-season hangout.
Oh, cool.
But then we'll also get together on our own, like we're going next month, going to Montana, and hang out with Howie and his wife. Howie's wife and my wife text each other like high school girls. Jimmy, just hit me up 2 days ago, just joking about something that he saw in the local paper. I talk to Michael if I go 2 days without talking to him sometimes. It's a stretch. Jay Glazer was best man at my wedding.
Wow.
Terry Bradshaw, I get off the golf course last week, and my phone rings. Hey, buddy, just call me, see what's up. So, we genuinely, this is the off season. So when we're together during the football season, we watch college football together, we do dinners together, when we're in the same town. So we don't just show up on Sunday trying to pretend that we're buddies. We're actually all good friends, and our families are good friends. And so that relationship just kind of carries across when you get on the air and you see us sitting down. It's basically doing what we would do on our own and just adding television cameras.
That's the best. That's that's amazing that you can just all hang out and just be great friends.
Well, I think that the key is that people know what's genuine and what's not. You may not know that people don't get along, but you know something's not right.
Right.
And I think the opposite is true too. And I think people see that the love, the caring, and the respect that we all have for one another, and I think that has a huge impact.
I was just wondering, who's the better golfer, you or Terry Bradshaw?
Well, right now I'm the better golfer because so he can't play.
Right.
But Terry's a great. I think Golf Magazine ranked him a couple years ago as one of the top 10 all time, one of the top 10 athletes who can play golf.
Wow.
He is when he's going, he's a scratch golfer.
Wow.
He's always been really. Terry's just a natural athlete.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people know. Like he had the national high school javelin record, and he was in high school in the '60s, the number one pick of 1970. So it had to be the early mid '60s. But it was just broken only 5 or 6 years ago. So for half a century, he had that record. But he was a great athlete growing up, and he's a really, really good golfer. And it helps him spend half your time in Hawaii too. So that really hurts your golf game a whole lot.
No, that'll help.
Quick break to talk about MyBookie. Holiday cash, you need it, and I know where to get it. MyBookie is the place to score serious cash on your sports predictions. You got to go to mybookie.ag. They have odds on every matchup and a mobile site that makes wagering on your smartphone a breeze. Join now, and MyBookie will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use the promo code TERRIFIC to activate the offer. Visit mybookie.ag today. You play, you win, you get paid. And listen up, Hoop fans. Basketball season is back, and now that your favorite hardwood heroes have returned to action, it's time for you to put your fantasy knowledge to test to win huge cash prizes every night playing one-day fantasy basketball at DraftKings.com. The best part, you get to draft a new team every day, and drafting a team is arguably the best part of fantasy, right? The only thing better, winning cash doing it. Just ask Dan from St. Louis or Jeremy from Austin. They both turned a $3 entry into $1,000. Huge cash prizes and bragging rights await, only at DraftKings. Use the code CLNS at DraftKings.com to play free with your first deposit for your share of $10,000 in total prizes tonight. Don't wait. Use code CLNS at DraftKings.com now to choose your lineup, and you can seriously cash in tonight. That's code CLNS only at DraftKings.com. The game inside the game.
Strahan, you mentioned you guys talk all the time. He really has done an amazing job with his post-career after football, moving into TV. He's taken off. What do you think makes him so special on TV? Why has it been such a success for him?
It's one of those things it's funny because we've joked about it before. I was doing local sports at the Fox station in New York, and I started there in '95, which was Michael's second year. So we've known each other all this time, and his ex-wife tried to set me up with her sister. It's like we've been good friends, he, Jay, and I,
nice.
for more than 20 years. But I remember doing an interview with the New York Post and Phil Mushnick, and this had to be either '99 season or 2000 season. And he knew that Michael and I were friends, and one of the things he wanted to talk about was Michael and his, whenever he retired and what he could do in television. And I said back then, I think Michael can do anything he wants to, whether he wants to act, whether he wants to host a game show, or whether he wants to do sports. Because I think he's just got one of those natural, you can't fake it. The thing that Michael Strahan has is he's Michael Strahan. And everybody else can try and copy, and there's so many athletes who think that right now they're going to retire and be him or emulate his career, and you can't emulate that because it's all really based on his personality. I mean, he works his tail off. I mean, he really does. So I don't mean that it magically comes to him, but he's successful at it because his personality is infectious. And when you're around him and you see that smile and he gets that laugh out of you and then gets the emotions out of whether you're male, female, young, old. I mean, there are not many people who can really do that on an everyday basis in this business. I mean, when you think about this, you know, I know he's just ending the run with live with Kelly and Michael. He's going over to Good Morning America, but that's 5 days a week of live television there. And then football season, another full day of live television. There's nobody else who's doing 6 days a week of live television. And in order to carry that off, you've got to have something special about you. And I really think it's something that's ingrained in his personality and who he is, combined with his work ethic and how hard he works and how smart he is, that makes it all click.
Yeah, no, he's amazing. I'm a Giant fan, too, so I'll always love Strahan. Last question before I let you go here. Jay Glazer, you said he was the best man at your wedding. Jay gets scoops like nobody else. How does he do it?
You know, he's one of those guys, and I'm as proud of him as anybody else. You know, I talked about how we've known each other for 21 years now. And when I first met Jay, he was working for the Giants Weekly, which was a free newspaper that you could kind of pick up at the stadium, and
nice.
You know, he wasn't getting paid for it, that kind of thing. But back then, you know, Jay was a worker, and he's always been. And what he's done, he started then and then expanded it from just the Giants to the rest of the league, is he builds relationships, and he builds trust among the people that he deals with. And I think that that's what makes him special, and that's what allows him to get scoopers, as he likes to call it, from people, because people trust him. And they trust him because they know who he is, and he's, you know, the genuine guy. He'd give you the shirt off his back. You know, he plays the tough guy, the MMA guy, all that stuff. But he's really a gentle soul. And I think people that know him know that. But they also know that they can trust him with information. And he likes to say it, that he probably puts out 10% of what he knows. And by doing that, people know that if I give you something, you're not just putting it out to benefit you.
Yeah.
There's going to be, you know, some way that I'm not going to look bad, or it's not going to hurt our franchise or our relationship or whatever, that it goes out at the right time. So I think that really relationship building is what that position is all about. You know, I mean, he's done it as well as anybody else. And again, it's not to take anything away. You know, the Adam Schefter's of the world, and you know, Ian Rappaport's and Mike Garafolo and Albert Breer, all those guys, they have to have special relationships with everybody at every level among the leagues that they cover. You know, we're talking football mostly, but at every level. And Jay is one of those personalities. If you want to choke him half the time, you want to choke him because he's like your little brother. You know, he annoys you, but you love him. You know, and that relationship building is what got him this far.
No, Jay's great. You guys are all great. The show's awesome. Thank you so much for coming on today, Curt. Everybody check out Curt's new show on the Travel Channel. It's called Hello Goodbye. It's going to be a big hit. Go check that out. Curt, thank you. Good luck with everything.